Okay, so welcome everyone to today's lesson. Today we're going to be looking at writing explanation sentences for IELTS writing task 2. I'm going to be running this lesson with some of my students. So welcome to Vanessa and Nabila, Maricel, we've got Sahar, Grace. I think I got everyone. So they're going to be working along with me, and hopefully we can see how to write explanation sentences and see what some common mistakes are and how to fix them. When we write explanation sentences, the purpose of an explanation sentence is to develop the idea that you introduce in your topic sentence. So remember, that's the most important thing that you're explaining. So whatever you came up with in your topic sentence, you introduce that, and now we want to explain that a little bit more. We want to be asking ourselves questions like why or how relating to this idea. And the most common mistake I see when people write explanation sentences is they start introducing new ideas. So it's really, really important that you develop the idea that you already had rather than introducing new ideas. Because if you introduce new ideas, it means you've just got a lot of ideas that are not developed. And that means you wouldn't be able to get over a band 6 for your task response. So very, very important that we're developing ideas. Quick tip, usually only one explanation sentence per main body paragraph is needed for task 2 essay types. The time this doesn't apply so much, it would be for an opinion essay. So with opinion essays, because we have less in the structure, and they're a little bit simpler to write, it's quite often a good idea to write 2 sentences of explanation, just to make sure that we've fully developed all of our ideas. But in other essay types, you're going to have opinion statements as well as examples, and therefore we don't need to write quite so much. The question we're looking at, so this is a question that we started off the other week. It's a discussion essay. So some people like to try new things. For example, places to visit and types of food. Other people prefer to keep doing things that they are familiar with. So what type of question was this? Quickly. Yeah, discussion essay. So if it's a discussion essay, do we need 1 or 2 sentences of explanation for it? Yeah, only 1, that's right. But Vanessa says, will 1 sentence be enough? Yeah. So the important thing is, Vanessa, that we do need to develop our ideas. But remember, this is not the only way that we develop our ideas. So our explanation is the first step. How else do we develop our ideas in our body paragraphs? What other tool do we have available? This says topic sentence. No, so topic sentence basically introduces the idea. So it's really important that we understand what all the different sentences do. So we've got topic sentence, and that is basically introducing our idea. We've got explanation, which is starting to develop it. What else do we have in a body paragraph? Exactly. Yeah, and the video says examples. So that's why examples are really important. Because as long as we have an explanation and an example, the example is also developing our main idea. So that is why just one explanation sentence is going to be fine. Nabila mentioned about giving results. So you could give a result to give that second explanation sentence. But like I said, for this type of question, one explanation sentence, and 1 example is all that we need to worry about. So the first topic sentence that we're going to have a look at, I've taken one of the topic sentences we came up with last week. So I said, on the one hand, some are of the opinion that people like to try the new experiences because they are bored of doing the same activities. So what I would like, the idea here is bored of the same activities. So we need to be explaining either why they're bored, how they're bored, and that's what needs to be in our explanation. So I'm going to throw it over to my students, going to give them a couple of minutes to think, and then we're going to have a look at some sentences they come up with. and see if they are relevant and if they are developing our main idea. So over to you guys. Can you write me an explanation sentence to support this? So anyone watching at home, please take this time to write your own explanation sentence and then see if you're making the same mistakes that maybe the students here are making, or if you're actually ticking all the boxes and supporting your main idea. We have our first one. Okay, while other people are writing, let's have a look at this one from Nabila. So we've got a very nice way to start an explanation sentence. This is because. After this is because, we need to be following this expression with a clause. So we need subject, verb, object. This is because they get tired of repeating the same activities. And therefore, they try to change and experience new things, such as new places, food. Okay. So if we look at this, so we're introducing this quite nicely. We're definitely explaining the getting bored. So if you get bored, if they're tired of repeating the same activities, so that's explaining what bored of, then we're kind of showing a result. Therefore, they try to change and experience new things, such as new places and food. If we say they try to change, it means they're trying to change themselves. So we need a little bit more language here. What would be better than they try to change? I think actually what we could, okay, yeah, they try to change their routine. And experience new things, such as new places and food. So with that, as I said, the vocabulary here was a little bit vague, but the rest of it was really good. We're definitely explaining this main idea, so that's really nice to see. So let's move on to our next one. Nabila said, instead of writing they at the beginning, was it better to write people? So let's go back to our topic sentence, because they needs to clearly refer to something that's here. So on the one hand, some are of opinion that people like to try new experiences because they are bored of doing the same activities. So they is going to refer back to the last group of people. So here we've got people. So they for me here is very, very clear what it's referring to. It's referring to the people in the last topic sentence. So it's clear, and there's no problem here with your referencing pronoun. Remember, it's okay to use referencing pronouns to go back to a sentence before, even at times a couple of sentences before. What you don't want to do, use referencing pronouns is right at the beginning of a paragraph, because paragraphs kind of reset grammar. So it's a little bit confusing if you start a paragraph mentioning they, but because this is the second sentence of a paragraph, that's it's very clear that you're referring to the people that were in the first sentence. So good job, well done, Bila. Let's move on to the second one. So this is because people enjoy more new sensations rather than old things that they just know. Okay, so we're introducing this as an explanation nicely. This is because, and then we've got a subject. People enjoy more new sensations. So here I would say maybe they enjoy experiencing. So what do they enjoy? They enjoy the feeling. They enjoy experiencing new sensations. And then we're trying to compare. Okay, so how can we compare the new sensations to the old things? What kind of language can we use here for a comparative? I can put one word in here, which will compare this slightly better. So, excellent, yeah, that. Okay, this is because I enjoy experiencing new sensations rather than the old things that they just know. So the just here, I'm not quite sure why we have a just. Already would be, yeah, okay. Slightly better here. This is because they enjoy experiencing new sensations rather than the old things that they already know. So is this explaining being bored of doing the same activities? So let's have a look. Yes, the reason that not really mentioned. So I would say it's more talking about why they enjoy the new sensations, but it's not really focusing on what is boring about doing the same thing. So I think we could keep this in as a result later, but sorry. We still really need to be explaining why are they bored. So what makes them bored rather than they enjoy this. So you're explaining why they enjoy this, but we're not really talking about what they're bored of. So what makes someone bored of something? So doing the same thing, repeating things. Okay, so maybe we could put this in first and then we'll put the enjoy afterwards. So this is people because being bored is more of a negative thing. So dislike activities. What could we use instead of activities? What kind of language could you use? Experiences, okay. I think it's last lessons that we mentioned that we want to try and avoid using the word thing. because things are a little bit too vague. So if we can come up with a better word than thing, if you can't, use thing. It's better to use thing accurately than other words inaccurately. But if you can think of a better word than thing, it's always good. So this is because people dislike repeating the same experiences and enjoy experiencing new sensations rather than the old things that they already know. So here, I think, again, how can we get rid of things here? Can we use some kind of reference? Ones, yeah. So ones would be a reference to sensation. So rather than repeating the word sensation, we can have ones here. So now if we look at this, now we're definitely explaining the idea. So we've got that this is because, so that's nice language to introduce an explanation. People dislike repeating the same experiences. They are bored of doing the same activities. So we're explaining this. And they prefer to have new sensations rather than old ones. So now we're definitely explaining this idea. So this would be a little bit better. Okay. Has anyone else got some topic sentences? Vanessa's got one, actually. Right, I'm just going to make way for this so we have space. Right. It's because individuals get tired of doing the same activities repeatedly, and they would want to have a change their existing activities. Okay, so again, good start. This is because. So we're talking about individuals in general. So what does it mean if we put this apostrophe in here? If we put the apostrophe in, it means that something is possessive, it belongs, but nothing is belonging to the individuals here. So we're just having a normal plural here. So this is because individuals get tired of doing the same activities repeatedly. So this is really nice. This is definitely explaining. And they would want to have a change. So I put this in our study group the other day about would. Students, I find, really overuse this word. What are we trying to say here? Are we trying to state a fact about they want to change their activities? Yeah. So if we want to state a fact, we just use the present simple with so we don't even need to use will. Will is making a prediction for the future. But if you want to state a fact, you just use the present simple like this. So they get bored of doing the same activities repeatedly, and fact, they want to have a change they're existing. Okay, so here we've got two verbs. So which one of these do we want? Have existing activities or change existing activities? Which one of these is really referring to this? Marisol says change, yeah. So we don't need to put this extra language in here. And they want to, what do they want to do? They want to change their existing activities. So let me just check one more time. So this is because individuals get tired of doing the same activities repeatedly, good, and they want to change their existing activities. Excellent, so this is much better. So you're correctly using a comma here. Can someone tell me why we use this comma? Good, yeah, we've got two independent clauses. So basically this here is an independent clause. This is an independent clause. If you join them together with a coordinated conjunction, or some people call them fanboys, like and, we always put a comma here. What type of sentence is this created? Grace says, yeah, it's a compound sentence. So a compound sentence is when you join two independent clauses. And then if we look at the one up here, we've got some of the opinion that people like to try new experiences because they're bored of doing the same activities. What type of sentence is this? Now, this one is a complex sentence. So a complex sentence is when you join an independent clause with a dependent clause. So here, you've got your independent, and here you've got your dependent. So this is what we call a complex. Both of these are really good. You want to be writing in complex and compound sentences in your writing, because this is part of the marking structure for your grammar, that you are writing using compound complex sentences rather than just writing simple sentences. So make sure, if you're not sure of what a compound or complex sentence is, that you understand these concepts. It's really, really important to get the grammar scores that you want. They don't need to be particularly complicated. People go, oh, complex sentence, it must be complex. It's not. You're just joining an independent clause with a dependent clause. Okay. Now, I think someone else, that was Grace. Okay. So let's have a look at another sentence here. So when people keep doing things repeatedly, they perceive life as boring and lacking of excitement. So for them to enjoy life, they tend to try new experiences which can create change. Okay. So here, are we explaining why people get bored? Nabila says yes. And Marissa says yes. Yep. So I think this person's definitely done this really nicely. And how has our writer here decided to explain this? This writer has gone for a slightly different way of explaining this. What kind of structure is this? Yeah, that's what Billy says. It's a conditional. So this is also a nice way to explain things using a condition. So, okay, in the condition of whatever the situation is, so you're doing things repeatedly. So when people keep doing things repeatedly, they perceive life as boring and lacking of excitement. Here, I just say lacking excitement. So no need for this preposition here. So for them to enjoy life, that's fine. They tend to try new experiences which can create change. Okay, and then we've kind of got a result in here as well. Really, really nice. What type of condition is this? Good, yeah. This is a zero conditional. Why do we use a zero conditional? So Grace, you've written it really well. Sahar said facts, yeah. So this is going back to what I was mentioning up here with Vanessa, and she wanted to put this will or would. If you want to state a fact, we just use present simple. So basically you have this conditional clause when people keep doing things repeatedly. So this is our conditional. So you have the conditional word, when, or sometimes we use if. We use present simple. And then in the zero conditional, this is also present simple. There's no will or would. Will or would is making a prediction for the future. So here we're just stating fact. So correctly written, I just wanted to show people that here you don't want to be putting in a will or a would because you're trying to state fact. So it's written really well. Again, if you're not sure about conditionals, definitely something worth looking up. You can just put conditionals into Google. You'll find you've got the zero conditional, first conditional, second and third, and then mixed conditionals. If you're stating fact, use zero. If you're making a prediction, you're using the first. And then for very unlikely things, you're using the second. And the third conditional is for impossible things, impossible hypothetical things. And this is when you're going to use the modal verb would quite a lot. Okay. Does anyone else have some sentences that we can have a look at? So, Sahar, excellent. In other words, if people experience the same activity over and over again, there is nothing challenging doing it anymore, and therefore they are not excited to repeat it. Okay, so the most important thing is, are we explaining why people get bored doing the same activities? Vanessa says yes, Nabila says yes. Yep, Marisol says yes. Completely agree. So we've got an explanation here. It is relevant. So a little bit of vocabulary and grammar we need to fix here. So if people experience the same activity over and over again, so what structure has the student decided to try and write in? Conditional again, yep, nice. Zero conditional because we're stating facts. So there is nothing challenging. So doing it anymore doesn't quite make sense. So there's nothing challenging. We'd actually want a preposition here. So excellent, yeah, about. So there is nothing challenging about it anymore. And therefore, after therefore, we always want a comma. There are arguments, like some people will just put commas in the structure all the time, like this. Sometimes you'll see it like this, and sometimes you'll see it like this, but pretty much always you need commas after therefore. Again, it's kind of up to your style. Personally speaking, I think it's easier to remember this, but over to you. There's nothing challenging about it anymore. Vanessa said doing it over. So, and they're not excited to repeat it. So again, we use a preposition here. They're not excited, not to. About again, yeah. And then we would want a gerund after this expression. Because if you're excited about something, so a thing must be what kind of grammatical structure? A verb, a noun, or an adjective? If I say I'm excited about my birthday, I'm excited about my holiday, so yeah, a noun. So you're excited about something. So if you're excited about something, we need a noun or a noun phrase. So if we're going to talk about an activity, and if we want to make an activity a noun phrase, what do I have to do to the verb? Yeah, ing. So the ing makes a verb a noun. So don't get confused. This is taught so badly in schools because teachers don't understand English grammar properly. This is not verb ing. If someone says to you verb ing, it's not. It is a gerund. A gerund and verb ing are two very different things. I remember many years ago making this mistake and another teacher correcting me. Yeah, it is a noun. So this is now a noun phrase. So it's an activity. So I can say, I'm excited about going on holiday. I'm excited about passing my exam. I'm excited about learning new things. So anytime you have this expression, excited about, we are following with a noun phrase, and therefore we're using this gerund here. Yeah, Nabila says I was taught that way at school. Grace says, why do we need to remove of for lacking excitement? So where are we? Where was the lacking excitement? I think that was previous. So again, lacking excitement is exactly the same idea. Basically, we're creating a noun phrase. So when you lack something, you're not lacking of. The activity is just lacking excitement. It lacks excitement. It's lacking excitement. So there's no preposition in this expression ever. So if you're writing it as a gerundial phrase or a noun phrase, you wouldn't put the preposition in there. So Haas says, is over and over again not informal? No, I think over and over again is formal enough for your academic writing. So don't worry about that. That expression is fine to use in your academic writing or your task 2 writing. Yeah. Okay, so apart from that, let me check one time. Yeah, so we're explaining everything. Really nice. And I like the way, so we've had these 2 ways of doing this so far. So some people said this is because, and just using that to give a reason. And then a couple of other people, our students here, have said use these conditionals to say, well, if this condition occurs, then this is the result. So these are 2 very nice ways of explaining sentences. So great job. I think all of these explanations have been really good. I think I've covered everyone. Was there any one of you guys who I haven't looked at yet? No. Okay, so let's move on to our second explanation. So we've got the explanation for the first topic sentence. We had a different idea. So on the other hand, others believe that it's preferable to do the same activities which they're familiar with because they are scared of doing new activities. So what part of this do we need to be explaining? Yeah, they're scared of doing. So this was the idea that we came up with. So remember, you're always trying to explain your idea. So why are they scared of doing new activities? So this is the part that is really important that we put in our explanation here. So again, we can start these sentences with this is because, that is to say, or again, we could use these conditional expressions. What I would suggest is maybe mixing them up. So if you use conditionals in your first explanation, then maybe this is to say you could use in the second, or if you're using this is because in your first one, maybe use conditionals in your second to explain. So once again, anyone who's watching this at home or watching on YouTube, remember, try and write some explanation sentences yourself. You can always post them in the comments and I will give you some feedback to how well you've done. It's really important to actually practice things. Don't just watch videos. I think a lot of people just sit there on YouTube watching videos and watching videos. You need to actually put into practice what you are learning. Okay, so we have our first one here to have a look at. So this is because some people are afraid of changes because they do not like disappointments or feel frustrated when trying new food or visiting new places. Okay, nice. Again, we've got this is because, so it's very clear that we're talking about an explanation. Some people are afraid of changes because they do not like disappointments, yeah, or feeling frustrated. So I think there's explanation here. Why would they feel frustrated? I think we could maybe be a little bit clearer here about the disappointments and feeling frustrated. They do not like disappointments, I guess, when trying new food. Yeah, so maybe we could reword this slightly. So they do not like. I think the feel frustrated is what's confused me, because I don't know if people feel frustrated when they try food or visit places. So let's have maybe they do not like to it's because people are afraid of changes. They do not like to feel disappointed when trying new food or visiting new places. So how would food or visiting places make them feel disappointed? Because at the moment, for me, so if I'm looking at this Nabila at the moment, this very first part, we're just kind of repeating that some people are afraid of changes, they're scared of doing new activities. There's not really explaining, this is more kind of paraphrasing. So try not to like paraphrase what you said in your topic sentence, try to explain it. So so maybe this is because some people do not like to feel disappointed when trying. But the disappointed doesn't really address the scared. I'm going to throw this back to you, Nabila, and ask you to have another go. Okay. But focus more on explaining the scared rather than just repeating the scared. What is it? What is scary about the food? So we're not trying to say they're disappointed, we're trying to say that they're scared. Okay, so let's have a look at Maritos. When people are afraid to have new experiences, they choose to do activities in which they feel comfortable because they already know them. Okay, so having a look at this one, is it explaining why they are scared of doing new activities? It's definitely showing what they would like to do instead, but does it explain the scared? No. So remember, we need to explain our idea. They're scared of new activities. So we don't want to talk about what they would like to do instead. We need to explain why. Why are they scared of doing new activities? Okay. So again, I'm going to throw this back to you. Ask you to have a go. Vanessa. That is to say that most individuals do not want to try new things because they're afraid of the outcome of what that change brings. Okay, is this explaining scared of new activities? Yeah, so the answer is yes. So yeah, we're worried about the outcome of what change can bring. So this is definitely explaining it. The one thing that I would say be very careful about here is most individuals. So there's nowhere here that we have mentioned that the largest percentage of individuals feel like this. So what would be better than most? Yep, some, certain, a number of. Avoid majority. So most and majority, Vanessa, they're both talking about percentages. And there's nowhere in the question that said that there are more people who have this view. So we don't want to change what's been kind of mentioned in the question. The question just says, some people have one view, some people have the other. It's not talking about the percentage of people. So here, just to mix it up rather than just saying some all the time, that is to say that certain individuals do not want to try new things. because they're afraid of the outcome of what change brings. But yeah, apart from that, well done. So let's have a look. Sahar had one. Okay, so this is because people are afraid of bad experiences, okay? And therefore, they try to stick to their comfort zone and safe environment. So is this one explaining them being frightened? Yeah, so they're frightened of bad experiences. This is the main thing, what people are scared of. There's not so much of the activities, but they don't want to have bad experiences. I think it's a really nice explanation. This is because, again, a very nice way to introduce this. This is because people are afraid of bad experiences. Therefore, they try to stick to their comfort zone. We don't normally stick to a comfort zone. What is the verb that tends to go with comfort zone? Yeah, stay, and the preposition rather than stay to. They try to stay in their comfort zone and safe environment. So comfort zone and safe environment, are these different expressions or the same expression? For me, yeah, same meaning. So what we want, basically, we don't want to be repeating ourselves. So one or the other. Otherwise, it just sounds a little bit repetitive. So this is a lot more concise. So I notice a lot of people do this. They kind of give an object and then they give another object, which is almost exactly the same. So choose one. Remember, the purpose of communication is getting your point across. By saying in their comfort zone, you've got your point across. That extra language doesn't do anything. Sahar says to have enough words. Right. Stop worrying about word count. If you follow the structure from the courses, so if you're actually developing your ideas fully, adding those extra words isn't going to do anything. It's just making inconcise language. It's not actually adding anything. It's taking away from your writing. But as long as you follow the structure that we're going to go through, which is this like topic sentence, explanation, example, then we're going to have an opinion sentence. You've got 4 different things you have to put into this paragraph. There is no way you are going to have a problem with word count. And remember, you're not actually marked on word count. You're marked on development. Does adding those 3 extra words develop your essay anymore? No. It doesn't develop your idea anymore. It actually makes your explanation less concise. So it's actually removing from development. So the number of words doesn't make a good essay. It's developing, and in this case, which is really important, explaining. So keep it nice and simple. Yeah, so it's a risk. You could just start with this and it would be much more concise. But apart from that, really nice. Well done. The rest of this explanation was good. Okay, my lovely students, can you tell me or give me another explanation sentence so we can have a look at it? Sorry if you've already posted it in the chat. Okay, thanks. This is because some people are afraid of experiencing bad moments, okay? And that is why they prefer to repeat the activities they are familiar with. Okay, is this explaining the being scared? So Sahar says yes, Vanessa says yes, Marissa says yes, completely agree. So this is much better. We're now explaining our idea. Our idea is they're scared of new activities, they're afraid of experiencing bad moments, and that is why they prefer to repeat activities. Bad moments is a slightly strange collocation. I think maybe so. Bad experiences is a little bit more common than bad moments, then it sounds a bit repetitive. So what I'm going to do here is just vary the language a bit. Having bad. This is just a slightly more natural collocation, bad experiences rather than bad moments. It's a very, very minor mistake, but as I said, it just sounds a little bit more natural going this way. Okay. And do I have any other topic sentences explanation sentences? Thank you, Grace. Okay, let's have a look at this one. This is because some people are afraid of the possible outcomes which can be opposite from their expectations. So this is much better. This is definitely, we're explaining our idea here. The outcome, just saying possible outcome, is a little bit vague. The outcome of what? So I want to be a little bit more precise here. Yeah, okay. Oh, trying these things, okay. But people are afraid of what's the outcome? Which can be the opposite from their expectations. So here we've got a relative clause. Is it adding information or is it defining the new things? It's adding it. This is a non-defining relative clause. So we put a comma before it, which can be the opposite from their expectations. I think this is a really, really nice explanation sentence. The only thing I'm going to try and alter here, we've got the word thing. And I think, as I said before, thing is a little bit vague. So what could we do instead of thing? Activities, okay, yeah. Experiences would also work here, yeah. I think that would be fine. So, like I said, it's one of those, write your essay. If when you're initially writing, all that comes to mind is thing, put it in there. Get your essay finished. Once you've finished your essay, go back to where you've written things and then try and think about what could you use instead of these like slightly vague words. So if it comes to mind immediately, great. Otherwise, that could be something that you could think about when you're proofreading your essay. How can I make some of this vocabulary a little bit more specific? Okay, so if we possibly can, if we can remove the word thing, and remember, never use the word stuff, it's just going to make your writing a little bit more concise. Okay, do we have any other topic sentences in here? I mean, explanations. Have I covered everyone? Yeah, Vanessa, the time just flies by, I know. Okay, I think that covers everything that we wanted to look at today. So those are topic sentences. Sorry, the explanation sentences. Next week, we're going to have a look at how to write examples. Okay, so we'll be looking at the same essay. And then something I wanted to do, I've been talking to an examiner friend of mine who lives in Thailand. And I've asked him if he will grade our essay. So what I want to see, if these different sentence parts that you've written as we're going through these classes, if we put them all together into one big essay, do we get the band 8 or band 9 that we want? Okay, so I think that's going to be quite fun at the end of all these lessons. We're going to put all these ideas together, give one of these to an external examiner, and let's see if we can get band 8. Okay, so this is my challenge to you guys. So he's not connected in any way to me, apart from the fact that I know him. I asked him if he would do this. Yeah, he's based in Thailand at the moment. He's been an examiner for 3 or 4 years, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how he grades our essay. So anyway, if anyone's got any questions who's watching this on YouTube, please leave them in the comments. If you want to write some explanation sentences, put them in the comments. I can tell you if they're relevant. Thank you so much to my students for participating today. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this video. And good luck to everyone in your studies.